The leader of the world will be meeting at Copenhagen in December to attempt to conclude an agreement to replace the Kyoto Protocol, which will expire in 2012. Can you please share with us your thoughts on how the world are going to reconcile the need for energy security on one hand and to avoid environmental disaster on the other? Thank you.
Where do you come from?
Come from China.
Which part?
The mainland of China.
Sorry?
The mainland of China.
哪一个地方呢？你的家乡呢？
Which province are you from?
My hometown was Henan province.
Oh, Hunan province.
How long have you been here?
4 years.
You intend to stay?
You don't have to say yes if you don't. I think maybe I should ask her whether she has a Singapore boyfriend.
No.
Are you a PR?
No, not yet.
She's a student.
Okay.
Her question is.
No, I'd like to know who I'm answering.
You remember the question?
Yes, I remember the question. It's one of the big issues of the world. It's not been resolved. It's not easy to resolve because the Chinese and the Indians take the view that historically this has been caused by the industrialized nations and that their growth should not be impeded because of climate change, because they got to first reach there. And there's the further argument that if you want me to cut down my gases that I release into the atmosphere, leads to global warming, give me the clean energy technology, free of charge, which of course neither the West nor the Japanese will give. So this argy-bargy has been going back and forth. I do not think it will be resolved at Copenhagen. The Americans will not commit themselves to a definite cut unless the Chinese and the Indians also come on board with some targets. But I think the Obama administration in his election campaign, Obama made this a very critical issue. So I do not believe he can afford to take the George W. Bush line that, well, if China and India doesn't come on board, we are not doing anything, because I think that will not be acceptable to the Europeans nor the American people. My feeling is the Chinese and Indians will not be so obstinate. They will give flexible targets, and there may be something out of it for the rest of the world, from the Americans, the Europeans, the Japanese. And never forget, we are one of the targets. They say that our emissions per capita is one of the highest in the world. We remind them that includes bunkering, aviation fuel, which is not all for Singapore Airlines. Bunkering is not just all for NOL or APL. And we use as much gas as is available for our power stations. But the Japanese and the Australians want to upgrade us into Category 1, where we have to make firm commitments. And if we have to make such firm commitments to cut down like they have to, then our growth will slow down, which I think is unfair, because how can you, half of our manufacturing, or maybe 3/4 of our manufacturing, are for exports. We are not consuming those goods. MNCs come here with the energy requiring industries. We produce for them and they export. And they say that is your contribution to the world warming up. We are going to resist that, but as I said, the Australians, I don't know, they think that we ought to be brought into the category 1 so that we have to slow down our growth. And the Japanese think so too. We'll see. But we're going there prepared with all our arguments, and it's just not possible to treat us like an ordinary country.